Welcome back to Access Anime. I'm Henshin Ikeda, and today I'll be doing a walkthrough review of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Episode 6. Now, if you remember from last episode, all the main characters were heading toward Win Night Lot, which is an ex-Knights training ground / prison. And apparently, along the way, Dio set a trap. Yeah, I didn't see this really coming, but apparently he hypnotized a little boy called Paco, and he became like a little thief or pickpocket, and to lure these guys into a bigger trap. But again, I was very stunned that Dio could even come up with a plan like this. Now we also see Speedwagon. He's stepping it up, and apparently he almost saved Zeppeli. Not like in a life-threatening way, it's just Zeppeli's arm became frostbitten. So Speedwagon jumps in and was one of the first on the scene to actually try to help Zeppeli recover so he could use his ripple energy power. But that was kind of interesting in my opinion. Now, we also see two characters that were introduced, but they're zombies, so they're not really main characters. Bruford and Tarkus, they are knights. So it was really interesting and very epic to see these guys. Now, I should also point out, Dio is now there for a short amount of time battling Zeppeli and JoJo. But, sadly, he ends up leaving, so we don't get to see his butt being kicked around. He leaves it to his two zombie knights. So that was kind of interesting. Now, the zombie knights aren't actually fighting all at once, because Tarkus is holding off Zeppeli and Speedwagon, while JoJo's actually fighting Bruford. Now, I thought this was very interesting, because now they're underwater. Instead of JoJo going up for air, he goes down for air, trying to grab more energy, I guess, for his ripple energy. So he goes down and grabs some air, while Bruford, he's got all this heavy armor, tries to go up to stop, JoJo from getting air. But, that doesn't actually seem to be the case. And I thought that was kind of hilarious because, well, he's human. You gotta think JoJo's human, so wouldn't he want to go up for air? But, instead we see JoJo pull off another attack, his turquoise blue overdrive. Now, I thought it would have been over after that, but that was last episode, so we don't know if Bruford was still alive or not. But again, that was last episode, and this is definitely a new episode, so let's dive right in. And again, I'll keep my comment and my rating at the end of the clip, so stay tuned. But let's start. Let's get dirty. Let's get started. Now, we open up this episode exactly where we left off, which is what I like to see. We see Bruford. I hate saying his name because you want to say Blue or Brew. It's Bruford, and Bruford versus JoJo. They're now on land, so Bruford is actually alive. Now, he's using his hair attack, obviously, and this wasn't really a drawn-out battle to begin with, so we already know he's wounded, and apparently JoJo's turquoise blue overdrive didn't really have a lot of effect, but we do see apparently Bruford's arm has been cut off, so it's like it got a little epic there. And eventually we see JoJo used a sunlight yellow overdrive technique, which was kind of interesting, and that laid it down on the line for Bruford to a point. And this knight, I thought, wait, he can feel pain? Why is he checking his slash or that little scar that JoJo just gave him? Now, apparently, this was a WTF moment, in my opinion, because you have JoJo, he drops his arms, like he was about to attack, but now he's not attacking, and this knight comes right at him, but stops midway. Now, I was curious, why would you drop your arms? You're trying to act like Mr. Cool here? But there was a reason. Because JoJo noticed that Bruford could actually feel pain or something like that. Now, apparently, JoJo's ripple energy awakened whatever was left of this knight, like his soul and stuff, so he could feel pain. And because of that, he was disintegrating. So it was kind of interesting. It was like pure sunlight would have hit him, and he's like, melting. But yeah, his body was disintegrating. And before, he dies, Bruford actually gives JoJo his sword. Now, his sword is called Luck, or at least those are the initials engraved on it, but he ends up using his blood to put a P where the L used to be, calling it Pluck. So I don't really know the meaning behind that, but if you've read the manga, then obviously you must know what the meaning is behind it. But for me right now, I have no idea what it means. But again, Buford ends up giving his sword to JoJo with the initials Luck, but now it's Pluck. So again, Buford gives him his sword and then he disintegrates. Now JoJo is like really stunned because this guy, like, wow, even when this guy goes down, he's dead now. He felt bad because, you know, he was really a good person. Although he was bloodlust because of what happened in his past, he was able to become more human when he had a bunch of JoJo's powers shift through him. But, you know, JoJo was feeling a little bad. But we shouldn't be kept off guard about Turkis, Buford's partner. Remember, this whole time he's watching Zeppeli, he's watching Speedwagon and Poco. Out of nowhere, he jumps right behind JoJo and smashes his own partner's body, and JoJo just instantly takes the defensive move, and he notices, okay, the cliff is falling apart, this mountain's falling apart. He grabs Paco, and just when the cliff's falling, just to get to safety. Now Zeppeli is finally a little more healed. We see JoJo and Zeppeli now. It's called a life magnetism overdrive is what they use, which I thought was kind of interesting. Yet another technique we're introduced to. And, you know, you see them looking at the leaves on the ground. I'm like, okay, what really cool technique are they going to do? They didn't really even do a cool technique, in my opinion. They just made a big leaf, and they grabbed everyone, and they started gliding away from Turquoise as he fell to his, supposedly to his death. At least that's what I thought. But anyway, so they're gliding on a leaf, and I thought, you know, wow, you don't see that every day. But now Speedwagon, he asks Zeppeli who he really is and how do you learn like his techniques and stuff, and then we just do like an interesting flashback. Now apparently Zeppeli did not tell Speedwagon anything. He was just having this flashback, so again, Speedwagon doesn't know the real truth of who Zeppeli really is and how Zeppeli got his powers, but we find out apparently we see a flashback of Zeppeli getting off of his boat. He meets a strange man in Port City in India, and he calls himself the Doctor, and he's young. So apparently you have this doctor that's really good at what he does, and he looks young, a little shabby, and he's got this power to heal people, which is the ripple energy. Now, of course, Zeppeli asks, well, where'd you get this power, and such, something along those lines. And so now he's hunting down this doctor's master, the guy that taught him how to do, you know, the ripple energy. And we see he's followed a river, I forget what it was called, named Salawine, I think that's what it was called. And he was following the river deep, well, like really far and deep into this river, and I guess he goes to the mountains of Tibet. So now he's in Tibet, I guess. He's in the mountains of Tibet. That's where Zeppeli's at in this flashback, where he meets a man, which is going to become his master now. It's called Tempeh. So Tempeh was this master who taught the doctor how to use the energy, the ripple energy. So now he's teaching Zeppeli, and he tells Zeppeli, if you follow this path, you know you're going to die. And you know, yeah, he notices. But that was the flashback. Now again, Zeppeli did not answer Speedwagon, so Speedwagon still has no idea who Zeppeli really is and where to get his powers from. But we do find out Turquoise isn't dead. In fact, Turkis is right, literally behind them, attacking. It's weird to see him like falling midair. But anyways, you see Zeppeli, Paco, Speedwagon, everyone that's on the leaf that's gliding, including Turkis, who is falling. They notice the knight's old training ground. It's like you see the water, then you see this little building, and they're gonna crash right into it. Now Turkis, he misses where they're at. He falls all the way down into a different lower part of the building, and they're trying to recover now. Now Paco, this kid did a little funny scene, sorry, I digress, but I have to point this out. This kid had at least two parts in this episode that were hilarious. First of all, he like pulled his pants down to show his ass to Turkis when they were leaving. It's kind of funny. And I'll tell you well, in fact, now I'll tell you now. He actually wet his pants because he was so scared. I thought that was kind of funny. So he had two funny moments. It was nice to see a little humor there. Now, sorry, I so digress. Let me jump back in. We see Turkus, keep calling him Turquoise, I mean Turkus. Turkus is now inside of the Knight's old training ground, which is this building, and he's setting up traps and whatnot. And this is where it kind of gets interesting. Paco, he knows all about this building, at least a good amount of information, but JoJo's the one that enters the building and the door shuts. And now Turkus, he's now up on that level and he's battling JoJo. He puts like a chain around his neck, but it's not really a chain. It's like a it's part of the Knight's training ground. I want to say training chains, but they're not training chains. But it's part of how they were training as knights. So he's got like this necklace or choker on his neck. Called a necklace, I'm sorry. It was like a collar. It's a metal collar. And now this knight actually has... I called him this knight, I'm sorry. Turkus actually has a collar, and so does JoJo. And they actually have chains that go straight to the roof, so neither one of them can run away. Now Turkus actually has locked the building so no one else can bother them, and so now they're fighting one-on-one. Now what Pacos was trying to tell JoJo is that there's tons of traps inside, and that was a training ground, but you know, JoJo just went in heads first without hearing the kid out. So now JoJo's kind of screwed. He's getting his butt handed to him by Turkus. That's kind of interesting. Now Zeppeli, he's pounding like crazy to get in to save JoJo because JoJo can't use his powers. It's like the chain nullifies his power to an extent, so he has to try to break away. Zeppeli's knuckles are gone, he's bleeding, he's beating the crap out of the door, but it's a no-go. But he remembers where Turkus landed, there was a way in, so they were going to go down a couple levels to go back in. Now Pacos, that kid, he wet his pants, he's scared, and there's a flashback where we get to see him being bullied and being saved by his little sister, or I guess his older sister, and it kind of snapped on him. If he doesn't say anything, he doesn't have to risk his life. But you know, that because of that flashback and him thinking about his sister saving him, he wants to be the hero. He really does. So instead of just sitting around doing nothing, he sees a little opening, a window. It's like a little plus sign. Now, obviously, I know that's where the archers usually are at, back in the medieval times where they would have archers set up there and they'd be shooting like bows and arrows and whatnot. But it's considered a window in this episode. So this kid climbs up to the window and tries to get in, and he gets in. Now Zeppeli and everyone else goes after him, like trying to stop. No, don't do it. The kid goes inside. He ends up pulling the lever to unlock the door to let them in. But you know, sadly, he was hit by Turkus, and we don't know if he's alive that much. But apparently in this episode, he's still alive, just very mortally wounded. He's got blood coming down. We don't know if his ribs, anything's like destroyed inside, but he was able to pull the lever, so now everyone's inside. Now Zeppeli's the one that's going to be taking on Turkus now. But it was weird. Again, we see a flashback where we see Turkus, I guess, having an open conversation with his master, Tempeh, I believe his name's pronounced Tempeh. And again, Tempeh's telling him, if you follow this path, you will die. And so Zeppeli's like, well, you know, if I'm going to die, this is probably going to be the moment. Throws down the gauntlets, and he goes in after Turkus. And that's where the episode actually ends. And again, JoJo, all banged up, and he has to use his ripple energy, but he's trying to free himself. If he can free himself and heal, he can actually join Zeppeli in taking Turkus. But again, that's where the actual episode ends. Final thoughts right now? Well, first of all, Dio, are you already at the Wind Night Lot village? Are you already taking out all of these, the population? Did you already make zombies? We don't know. Also, Turkus, who's actually going to be battling you? Is it Zeppeli? Is it JoJo? Or is Speedwagon going to get pushed into this as well? I don't know who he's actually fighting right now. If it's going to be a group effort or a one-on-one effort. Now, I should also point out, I was going to say something along the lines of the sword that JoJo now has that he received from Buford. Now, Buford gave him a sword, and it was labeled, had the initials Luck, and now it has the initial P at the beginning, so it's called Pluck. Is he going to keep that sword, use it? We don't know. I didn't even see it when he was in the Knight's training ground. I didn't see it on him. So I have no idea if he's actually going to use it or not. But I guess we'll find out. Now, I guess I'll throw in one more final thought. Pocos? I'm wondering if he's alive or dead right now, and what's the relevance of his sister? Do we get to meet his sister? I mean, small roles there, they're probably very insignificant characters, but still I'd like to see if she's, you know, did his sister become a zombie or not? We don't know. Oh, but moving on to the rating. Now, I'm gonna give this, I'm being generous, 4 out of 5. It should be a 4.5 out of 5. I see a lot of people giving high ratings. I'm gonna give it a solid 4 out of 5, just for now, because I know next episode's gonna be even more amazing. So 4 out of 5. Hopefully I get to see more battle scenes, more drawn out. But let me know what you thought. Definitely comment down below, subscribe above, thumbs up, thumbs down, and check me out on Twitter, follow me if you want. But again, let me know what you thought of this episode, and maybe what's your expectations on the next episode. So definitely comment, let me know. I'm here. Now, that ends it for my walkthrough and review of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Episode 6. Now I still have 2 more walkthroughs and reviews to do today, so definitely stay tuned. But that ends it for now. Before I go, gotta say it. Can't stop the access? You can watch the feed. I'll see you later, guys.